Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, and I've returned today with another socioeconomic Saturday. So today, earlier I was ranting about the best life insurance to get, and today I want to pick up on the topic that me and a mutual friend of mine and my guest here were discussing a few days back, and that's if black men deserve stay-at-home wives. And this is going to be really briefly touched. Um, but a lot of that is paying the cost to be the boss. So we're going to talk about how ways are effective ways where you can get those monies and protect yourself in being the manner of paying the costs to be the boss. Before we go in, though, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So as we proceed to give you what you need, I'm here with a colleague of mine, Mr. Brian Etta. He is someone that I use as a referral partner. Generally, when I sit with a lot of my clients, depending on their situation, they often don't have uh, things like accountants or attorneys or wills. Even people like Chadwick Boseman, when he passed, he died intestate, meaning this is a multimillionaire and he didn't have things legally in place to protect his assets. So, generally, with Brian here, MOT, what's going on, bro? Generally, what I will do is I will refer him to help them with their legal services. So, what I wanted to do was bring him up here and kind of, you know, ask him some questions kind of on the fly. He wasn't, prepped for this or anything. But as you guys know, uh, as my flock, as wealth supremacists, we always want to, look for the best angles. So what I'm going to do is you guys are going to learn the questions as a financial professional that may need to be asked of them um, through me. And Mr. Etta. I hope you're okay with this, Mr. Etta. And if not, I guess you'd leave. So,
Click. No, I'm totally fine with this, Mr. Hall. And I just want to say thank you for having me on your show today. It's always a pleasure to collaborate. Great minds think alike. And, we all have to support each other. And I just have to say the work that you do really helps a lot of people. And you've really helped a lot of my clients with their needs for future continuity and just to make sure that the things that they want for their loved ones actually occur should the unforeseen happen. And one of the things that Mr. Hall and myself we do, um, in terms of collaboration, oftentimes when he's doing his process, he'll find that most people don't have a will. In fact, there is a bit of a trick question I like to ask people, right? And I'll say, "Do you have a will?" Now, most people don't have a will in the formal sense, but in reality, we all have a will. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, if you die without a formal will, you die what's called intestate, the state has a will for you. So, yes, you do have a will, but it's not the will that you would have set up for yourself. And the way that that works is if you die intestate, the state has a formula by which they're going to divide or allocate your estate, whatever size it may be, and they're going to charge your estate a percentage right off the top of your whatever wealth you may have. And then they will allocate it along, whether it's family or husband, wife, children, but they'll do it according to their own formula. Now, the people don't even think about such things as it's not just about money, but you may have an heirloom or something precious that your parents might want to pass to you. Maybe there's a ring that you may want that the parents might want you to pass on to your husband, wife, your grandchildren. Maybe there's some kind of little piece of china or something like that. You never know. The other thing that people really don't think about in terms of a reason to have a will, two things. Say you have a bank account. Most people have a bank account, right? And if you even have $5, $10 in your account, most people would want another person to have that. I know I would want to have a friend, a loved one, have access to my account. The thing is, while we are alive, we don't give our PIN numbers out to anyone, which kind of defeats the purpose of a PIN and security. But if you die without having someone having access to that information, it's very difficult for them to get what's the contents of your bank account. Having a will allows that person who you designate to be able to go into the bank branch and present the paperwork and get whatever amount of money, whether it's 200, whether it's 500, 1,000, they can get that out of your account. Another reason that you want to have a will, think of your social media, right? Our social media is a testimony to our life, right? Most people have been alive since social media began. Many people to date, right? Social media has been around for 20 something years, I believe, and there are many people who have been alive since after social media became a phenomenon, which means that we grew up, many people grew up, and all their lives are documented on Facebook and Instagram and so forth. These are living monuments and testaments to us. These are our archives, and I know that I would love for someone to have access to my social media, right? Children, grandchildren, um, people can have it as a tribute, I guess, right? A tombstone, a living tombstone to me, and other people might feel the same way. The problem is, without having access to the passwords, if you go to Facebook, first of all, you cannot call Facebook. They don't have a phone number that you can just call. So you're going to have to send them paperwork, and that's going to be a whole long process. Versus if you have a will and you have some paperwork, you can send it to Facebook, and they will give you access to your loved ones' accounts, or you can have one of your loved ones have access to your account. So those are just very, very simple, basic reasons that everybody would want to have a will. And if anybody is interested in further information, they're more than welcome to get in contact with me. Thank you, Mr. Hall, for letting me share that.
No problem. So, that's one of the things that I wanted to ask about in terms of the legality. So, a lot of my clients also tend to want to know, um, you know, because you say, things like, hey, we can have access to a lawyer. And, a lot of it I talk to them about is a will. But another thing that I want to ask about, right? Because not only in my profession do we deal with wills, we deal with, final testaments, but we deal with things like trusts. Have you ever heard of something called an islet, Mr. Ed?
I've heard of it, but I do not remember what it means. But I'd love to find out. Definitely explain it.
Okay, so an islet, simply put, I'll give the Reader's Digest version, is an irrevocable life insurance trust, right? So this is basically a trust fund. So I want to relate this back to the topic in the title, which is do black men, because a lot of what I talk about is, I try to stay out of the dating and relationship space, but sometimes it needs to be talked about. So as a married man, and one who wants to be a staple in the Black community, that's kind of the angle I take. So, with that being said, um, can you speak to the ability to put my clients in touch with an estate planning attorney who can help them do things like create a trust fund, um, so that they can actually have a legacy, so they can create an environment where their woman feels safe enough to be that stay-at-home wife.
Oh, absolutely. So I work with the company LegalShield, or some people might know it as prepaid legal. Some other people might know it as PPLSI. Either way, it's all the same. We've been around for 50 years, 50 plus years. And essentially what I do, I connect them to a lawyer within a network of law firms across the country and Canada, by the way. The attorney law firm that you will have is someone that's close to you in your state, in your community. And once I connect you to your lawyer, they will work with you hand in hand and take you through the process of getting your estate set up and your paperwork. And we will get your will done from scratch. We will get your powers of attorney taken care of, as well as things like medical proxies and living wills. I'm a huge believer in addition to having a will, having medical proxies. Now, what is a medical proxy? So that is a document that allows another person to make a medical decision on your behalf should you be incapacitated. So God forbid a person gets into an accident and they're unconscious or they're comatose. You may need to have some kind of treatment, but if you are comatose, you yourself are not able to make that decision. Versus if you have someone who is designated, could be a family member, husband, wife, child, friend, doesn't matter, you have someone designated to do so, then they can make a decision based on what you have communicated to them, whether DNR, to resuscitate, not resuscitate. You can have your wishes honored. Another thing is, you may have an allergy to a particular medication that the medical staff where you are, they're not aware of this. Your designee can say, wait, you know what, this person has an allergy to sulfur-based medications or some other kind of medication, and prevent you from getting dosed with something that is not in your best interest. So that's the medical proxy. Getting back to wills and so forth, essentially the way the process works is, once I gather your information, we get you into the system, you get a membership ID, and within a day or two, we'll get you connected to the attorney. All this combined and this is anywhere in the country, it is less than $1 a day or $29.95 per month. That will get you your will done, which, depending on what state you are, could be a few thousand to several $1,000s. So that is the 30,000-foot view of how I work with people. People, if they'd like to get more information, can definitely get in touch with me, and I'll drop my link in the chat.
That's fine. You can drop it in the back chat. I don't think I have you as a moderator yet, so it won't come up as a clickable link if you drop it in the YouTube.
Oh, excellent.
So digging deeper, let's take a step through the process, because I get leery from my clients when I hear things like, "Oh, we're going to put you in the system." I like to handle my clients with white gloves, so I want to make sure that they're handled every step of the way, and I hold their hands. So, can you explain to me further your process, right? So, you're saying this is basically $30, right? And I got access to a lawyer if I need a medical proxy or if I need a will, right? Now, I'm also asking, however, if I need a trust fund. So, I'm assuming it's the same with setting up a legal document that has nothing to do with death, correct? You're probably still typing. Did I lose you?
Yeah, you know what? Do me a favor, because I had a little bit of a technical glitch. Please repeat the question.
Okay. So I often get leery when I hear someone say things like, "I'm going to put you in the system, this, that, and the third." So again, with my clients and with my wealth supremacists, I tend to like to give them white gloves. I like to handle them, hold their hands every step of the process, right? Because I take very good care of my clients. So I would like for you to explain the process. So you're saying it's basically $30, and that $30 allows me to get access to a lawyer to help me to set up my will for if I die, or an attorney or a trust fund for if I die. But what about things for if I'm living, right? Like I see the medical proxy and stuff, but people need lawyers for other stuff too. So where else can you help me there? And then what's your process like? How do, because within 3 or 4 hours or something, you said the lawyer gets back to me. Where do you stand in this? Like how does that? Oh, he fell off. Well, he should be able to click back on shortly. But in the interim, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So, as we proceed to give you what you need, again, we're talking about things that Black men can do to be deserving of having that stay at home wife. And some of that is being, financially literate, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, I just jumped back on.
Those things are very important.
Hey, sorry about that. A little bit of a technical difficulty, but yeah, in terms of the larger
Your
theme.
volume is low.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see if that's me. Speak.
Okay. Testing,
Yeah, it's
testing.
still low.
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
You may have to go to your settings. If you're on the phone, click more.
Mm-hmm. Settings. Got it. Audio. Okay.
Oh my God. Let me not say that right now.
Houses.
Nope.
Hmm.
Click off and come back on. So you leave the stream and come back to it. Here. I got you. All right, and then, oh shit, now I can't tell him to come. Well, yeah, he'll get it. Click back on. Hopefully he's watching simultaneously. I cannot find my phone charger. This is weird. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, um, his link is in the chat. If you're interested in learning more, and like I said, we try to work a little bit in tandem. In the fact that I do give him an introduction to some of my clientele, because he can be beneficial in leading you to those things. Now, not all the time, not everyone's situation is the same, but there are circumstances where it does make sense. And in those situations, you should take advantage of the possibility of those services. Uh, let's see, where'd he go? Give me 1 second here, folks. We got technical difficulties going awry here, apparently. Ugh. Here we go.
I was on my mobile device. I'm on my laptop now. How's my quality?
It's fine. It's my phone.
Okay, gotcha. So yes, before I had my technical
Oh
issue.
yeah, I know why it's my phone. You sound fine. My phone. I had a phone call come in, and it messes with my mic.
Not a problem, sir. So in terms of what you were saying about deserving a particular kind of wife or a lifestyle, part of deserving something is you have to be the type of person that would get the type of thing that you want. So if you want to have a particular wife type or lifestyle, you have to be able to provision or to provide. And what does that mean in terms of security and having a structure that provides safety for someone for them to want to be part of what your life goal is, to want to go in the same direction, but also to have a family with you. So, I like Mr. Hall, I had sold insurance for several years. And in my experience, there were many people who not only did they not have insurance, but they were the kind, they should have had it, meaning they might have had children, and or a wife and or a mortgage, and yet they were very okay with not having life insurance, as if death was something optional. And I could never really understand that mentality. I mean, to each their own, but I just feel in terms of doing the minimum, we want to put those basic structures in place, right? So you want to have your life insurance. You also want to have your wills. You want to have these legal and financial structures in place, because these are things that mature people do and that serious people do. Not to chastise anybody for not having it, but if you want to have a particular kind of life, there's certain things that a person, in my opinion, should do and should have that enable that particular quality of life to occur. Mr. Hall, do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. So now, seeing that, you've dealt with and deal with people of all walks of life, um, in that with the men, and like you said, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with just a certain lifestyle, period, right? Um, there's one thing that specifically in the African American community, we're commonly familiar with, which is something called Hoodrich, right? So we are familiar with the concept of being Hoodrich, which is, having access to certain things. However, um, what we don't have is access to uh the reality of having that money, right? And passing it down and really enjoying, the finer things in life. For example, you know, um a luxury car, right? One may buy a luxury car because it's a luxury car, right? Versus a certain model of luxury car because it has this particular engine, right? So, you know, I got a 2006 BMW because it's a BMW, not because it's an M3, right? Um, so, in that, can you speak to kind of um, let's talk specifically on things like life insurance, because I have a lot of men who are single and without families yet. And in these spaces, we talk about a thing called high value men. Um, so, high value men, generally, one of the aspects of it is earning $10,000 a month for 3 years straight, at least. Right? Basically, you have to be an accredited investor. Um, and in that, a lot of these single men meet some of those criteria. However, would you say that even before having wife and kids, having a structure like life insurance in place prior to even meeting that bride is a good idea? Or shall I say, planning for a family, even though it's not there yet? I mean, we do plan for a business 5 years in advance.
Well, I would say, the whole idea of putting the cart before the horse, right? So having a cart and then the horse is behind it doesn't really work. You want to have the horse to pull the cart. So in the same way, to me, the idea is whether or not you, if you think you might want to have a family, right? And I've always told my clients, especially my younger clients, get your life insurance from a younger age, because the premiums are based on your age, attained age, and you can get so much more insurance, and you have a longer time for the cash value to accrue in said policy. So even say you do not end up ever having a family, there is no downside because you still have the cash value. However, if you do decide and you end up
starting a family, now you have a much bigger legacy that you can leave, and you can essentially create some intergenerational wealth because you did the right thing at a younger age. The only problem with this idea of mine is that the very people who should start early, because most of us when we are young, we do not come from families where financial literacy is important or is taught or even thought about, right? And we ourselves might not even, if ever, think about such things until we are much more advanced, 30s, 40s, and 50s, at which point, medical issues are an issue, something to think about, or, the cost is so much greater because of our attained age, right? So that is an issue, and that speaks to cultural things, and also just as a function of you have to educate people and clients, which is what I do. Similarly, with getting your will done, it's something that people just don't think about. And I'm a it's a personal crusade of mine. I'm a one man crusader, and I am even among people, my friends, just informally, I'm always encouraging people, get your will, get your will, get your will, as well as getting life insurance. So if you want to have a family in the future, you should start today by putting those basic structures in place. And I'm sure Mr.
Sister Sada, Big Ben, fourth quarter salute. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, no. I was just going to say, I'm sure, you and I have had discussions offline, for many, many discussions on this topic. So I know you would agree with what I just said.
I absolutely do. Um, and here's another aspect of this. So often we do speak on cash value life insurance. However, cash value life insurance for a young man may be something that's seemed as cost prohibitive. But as you mentioned, as we gain, more advancement in age, not only age, or like you said, health conditions, but also responsibilities. So the availability of expendable income is much slimmer as you get older. I know the idea is, well, start small, and when you get older, you make more money. Many people start off at a $35,000 job and stay at a $35,000 job for 20 years. So, you know, things change. You get married, have a wife and kids, buy a house, but you got the same job, so the money doesn't stretch farther. Um, so things like term insurance are also very valuable. However, when you're looking at term insurance, you do want to look at the availability of having, you know, your funds uh, at least put to work for you, right? You want to look at life insurance as an alternative investment. So it should assist you in bringing you to that type of a lifestyle. In fact, earlier today, I was illustrating, uh, you know, the difference in why things are a different price, uh, uh, versus um, what you get from it. Because they are a different price, right? So I went over a situation where a dude was 40, paying for $2.5 million death benefit, 20-year term, and then a whole life where he's paying into it for 20 years. And at the end of the day, the term ended up costing $159,000 more than the whole life. Because, like you said, with the whole life, he had cash value. But regardless, the best type of policy to have is one that's in force at the time when you die. The next thing also that is good to have is a will and final testament. And why? Because you have people like Prince, whose estate just finally settled. We're talking about purple royalty, who did not have a will and final testament. So it depends on whomever Sunkiss was going on. It depends on whomever he decided to or I'm sorry, regardless of whoever he decided to leave his investments, who Rael was going on, he uh, then ends with his wishes not being met. Why? Because he didn't put himself in a position where to attain a certain lifestyle, you have to have these things, right? Like you said, or as I said, you plan for a business at least 5 years in advance. So you stated it would it would seem prudent for someone who's planning to live a certain lifestyle to be able to avail a stay-at-home wife to have a lot of these things taken care of. Am I
Absolutely. Oh,
go ahead?
absolutely. And another thing, another concept, another piece that people do not are not getting quite yet is that back in the day, right? People lifespan was a lot shorter than it is today, right? So you worked till 40 something, you retired, you died at 60, and that was kind of the end of it. But people are living into what would have been considered old age, and not just living, but are still viable, right? I mean, if you think of you look at pop culture, you have celebrities that are in their 70s, and they're not relevant from a pop culture standpoint, but they're still healthy and viable as a person. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, you look at certain people, very healthy, very fit, right? We are living longer, and there is no plan in place. People are not, they're not thinking in terms of, hey, what if I live to 110, 115? What if? And it might seem whimsical, farcical that that is a possibility, but Mr. Hall, you and I both know from our experience selling insurance and your current experience. If you look at what's called the illustration, the illustration is the chart that shows you the cash value or the amount of insurance that you can get at each year between the starting point and at age 120. And I say that to say that the chart went up to age 120 because the expected life expectancy in the near future is that 120. And as we progress, it is exponentially getting further out. At some point, the estimated life expectancy, believe it or not, will be 150 years. And we need to create plans because many of the people I have met, and I don't know why this is. I'd say to someone, yeah, what if you live to like 80, 90? You go, oh my God, please, I don't want to live that long, because they're probably thinking about being alive but being unhealthy. And I say, well, wait a second. If you start from today, you can be very healthy and be 80 and 90 years old. But what if you outlast your money? Right? And that is a concept that really people have not even begun to wrap their head around. What if you outlast your money? So in addition to having your will and all that stuff for when you die, you want to pass it on and get other people access to certain things that you have, but you also want to have life insurance with cash value so that you can have guaranteed income for the future, right? So that is another key concept that we need to educate ourselves and other people on. Mr. Hall, what would you say about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my whole angle on the beauty of cash value life insurance is that it's a safety net for whether you die or if you don't. And it is even better than a return of premium term. But if you are going to get a term, you still want a term with cash value. So that would be a return of premium, but it's more expensive. So if you're going to spend the more money, you might as well get the return on investment, because over time, the cash value grows so much that it ends up being the life insurance company paying you for making sure that when you die, your family gets X amount of dollars. So it also is smart because life insurance is not the end of the game, right? So a regular advisor just may give you the life insurance policy and the same excellent advice that you've just received here. However, as I always say, there is, um, and shout out to the Black Brain Trust. I see y'all. Rael, I gotta get back with you on that. I have to double check what time my event is tomorrow. But um one of the things is life insurance isn't the end, because life insurance, yes, that's something that avoids probate. However, you still need to have a will and final testament, because if you don't, again, even if it's not leaving money, but you want to leave, your great aunt from 1903, you want to pass down her wedding dress, or you want to pass down, your great 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 uncle's walking cane that was built from hand from the tusks of the largest African elephant in history. Right? Well, those types of things, if you die without a will and final testament, that's how those things end up in the Smithsonian Museum, charging people thousands of dollars to visit to see, when it should be in your family. And if people are paying thousands of dollars to visit and see, should be going to you and your family. And one way of doing that is through things like advanced directives, which a lot of these documents are only legal if they're set up with an attorney. So you definitely want to have access to that at ease and at cost, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it
Uh,
also adds to the lifestyle. Go ahead.
I just have to say, I myself have to get going onto my next appointment. Hey, the business of helping people, right there, it never ends, as you well know. But I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me on, and I want to say thanks to all your guests for being here today and for hearing what I had to say. If anyone who is interested, my contact information is in the chat, and I'd love the opportunity to work with you and your family. Until the next time, Mr. Hall, thanks again for having me on.
No doubt. Actually, with that's a good closeout. So I'm getting ready to hop off and go snack on something. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. Think about it. And while you think about it, know this: if you do nothing, nothing changes. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.